if I had 100 people that wanted it, that I was their realtor, like I was the guy that they think about when it comes to real estate, just 100. I don't need 10,000. If I just had 100, I would be never, ever, ever lacking for business. All right, welcome back, guys, to the Tactical Agent Podcast. This is episode 57. You have Mike and Danny, who I've got to say, selfishly, we are becoming the fan favorites. I don't think anybody else needs to hear from Chris or Trey ever, and you can just get used to us. If you guys have group chats going on, group chats are the best. I love group chats. And last week, I asked the crew who could be here to record Thursday at 2. Trey's like, I'm in. And then today's like, I can't make it. So I had to go back. I had to go back and show the receipts with a little ha reaction in the group text. But here we are. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. A little stressed out with some escrows, as I let you know, but we're good. We're good. We solved the problem.
We solved problems. That's it. And if there can be a problem in real estate, you'll find it eventually. It's
oh yeah,
it's there. Usually it's your first transaction. And let's not get too crazy distracted. We're gonna, guys, if you're just tuning in, we're the Tactical Agents. If you want more information, tacticalagents.com. It's all free. We don't have anything to sell you. Literally nothing. There's no coaching. There's no course. There's no nothing. Like it's us adding value into your business, help you think tactically and maybe a little bit differently about the business. So that's us. And my first transaction, I woke up to a text message. This is probably like 2 days before closing. And I had missed calls from my client at like 3 a.m. And then I'm like, that's weird. And then I looked at, and I had a photo dump, and a storm rolled through and a tree fell on the house and crashed through the roof. And this is two days before closing. And it was already like the buyer was kind of like a big pain in the butt. And we made it through, dude. We were at the closing table arguing up to the last possible moment, and we got it done. But my broker was laughing at me then. He's like, man, usually this is like the terrible deal of a lifetime, and you did it first. It's like, he's like, it only goes up from here. He was right. It got easy. Like once I did that, I'm like, dude, you can't top that. You can't top destroying the property 2 days before closing. I got this. You know what I'm saying?
No, man. I think you hit every single issue that could be hit with that one property.
And I'm still really good friends with those clients to this day. They'll come over for dinner with us, and they're great people. And it's cool. All right, here's what I want to talk about today. And you didn't know this, and I was like, I'll just throw it out there. Is something, I can't remember how much we've gone into this on the show in the past, but something that we call the core 100. And the theory is this: the average real estate agent that considers themselves full-time, and I haven't looked at these stats in a while. I'd be curious to know where it shifted. But the average real estate agent that considers themselves full-time does about 5 to 7 deals a year. And so that's just not that many. That's not a lot of real estate transactions. And the theory behind the core 100 is that if you had a relationship with 100 people that would each be willing, and the qualification of being in the core 100 is like, and trust these people, and the feeling is mutual, and they are the kind of people who would be willing to refer you one piece of effective business per year. And you can scale that down. We would say like your VIPs, you would kind of like have different levels. Your VIPs would be people who are like, dude, they are your champions. They are your walking billboards, right? Like 25 of those people, if they're going to be referring you for a year, right? And then, the next group of 25 might be 3. The next group of 25 might be 2, and that last group might be 1. But at least everybody's willing to refer you at least one piece of business a year. If you followed just that strategy. And there's a lot of strategies out there. There's a lot of approaches. And maybe this is the one that I think for certain people, certain things click. I've got a new guy right now that I brought on our team, and open houses clicked with him. And so he's just like, I'm going to do two open houses every weekend. And that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that consistently. I'm going to do it well. I'm going to learn it. And 2 months in, now he's got a sell buy. He's got another buyer client. He's got a builder relationship, all in 2 months from just doing that one thing consistently. And for me, my best approach has been the core 100 concept. If I can build relationships with people that are willing to send me business, and I focus on just investing and maintaining those relationships in a real world sense, I'll never lack for business. It's super simple. So when you hear that, when you hear you can build your business that way, what are you drawn to, and what kind of questions does that elicit from you? Like you're hearing me tell you this for the first time. You're like, I've got questions. So what would you ask about that?
Man, I think our business is very similar with how we approach it, because we go to our tribe. Basically, we generate a lot of our business based off of our community, which veteran community. So we do a lot with that. I think that the approach that we take is a little bit different, where we do our best to provide them value before asking for a referral. And I'm not saying that like that's going to be like the first thing you're going to ask, but you're staying top of mind, right? So I think the first question that comes up, so like one of the things that we do is like, hey, are you good with your benefits? Do you need any help with your benefits? That kind of a thing. Like, who do you know that needs help with their benefits? Like,
Yeah,
let me help out people in your group. But I'm curious as to what kind of questions, how like, are you consistently touching them? Do you have a systematic approach behind like, hey, I'm going to contact this person at least 4 times a year. One time is going to be on the birthday. One time is going to be at this day. Another time's this. Like, what is that approach?
Yep. So to kind of like cascade it down, the first thing would be like, well, I need to think about the kind of people that I want in this list, right? What are the kind of people? So I would say first, that's going to be just my personal network of people. Who do I actually like being around? Like who do I support and they support me, right? Like this could be, family members, but it's close friends, people that like, these are your people, right? You would hope that your people are going to support you in the business. And most of the time that's just a key turn. That's just a, hey, I need help growing my business, right? And you can literally just go, hey man, I need you to send me everybody that you know, right? Like you can have sort of like this super flat, clear conversation because you're already in. You guys are already bonded, and that's it. So my personal people are on that list. Then I would say it's going to be people related to home ownership. Who does when you have a client that needs a home service, who are those people? Plumbers, electricians, roofers, siding people, concrete people, landscapers, all that. Anybody, painters, house cleaners, all that stuff. I want to make sure that I'm being intentional in building those people into my list, because that's a two-way street. I can refer people to them, and then they'll be inclined to reciprocate. Another category of people is financial teams, right? Lenders, CPAs, insurance people, anybody related to the money world. That's another category of people. Other small business owners. This is a very low-hanging fruit to me. If you can frequent and have your coffee shops and your restaurants and your haircut place and your whatever, the local business, if you champion them and build in a relationship, it's easy conversation, because nobody understands the need for good referral business like other small business owners. And so entering into those relationships is good. And then it's like my clients, the raving fans. Cause I'm going to be honest with you. There is some clients that I straight up deleted from my database. I never, ever want to hear from them again the rest of my life. And they probably feel the same way. Like, so like people talk about your past clients. Like, there's no such thing to me as a past client unless it's a bad relationship. Otherwise, they're all just clients still. They're all or friends, right? So I put them in. So that's like one thing. And then they should be getting one invite to an event, the VIPs in there, right? And you'll see who emerges, who reciprocates, elevates to the VIP. If they're referring you business, then that's somebody you need to invest in further. But the VIPs, so like the top 25 in there, would be getting an invite once a month. All of my core 100 should be getting I should have some kind of conversation with them every month. And they'll always get invites to events that I do, right? Like, let's say you're going to rent a movie theater and sponsor that with your title company or a lender or whatever. Like, you can invite all of them to that and their families or whatever. But the VIPs, that's more like, hey, I'm doing UFC night. We're grabbing some pizzas and beers at my place and come on over. Like, I'm inviting my VIPs into that. Mm-hmm. So as far as like the touches, so that's who would be on the list. And then I would be making sure that I'm having at least one meaningful conversation with them, intentional conversation on a monthly basis. So that's two a day on your list, basically 3, maybe, that you're making sure you're contacting them. And then the VIPs are getting invites to more personal events. And then every event that you do, you're going to invite your core 100. So you're pretty much building a relationship-based business that way, where these 100 people are pretty much the people you're staying in contact with.
All right. So this is what I got from that. So who is basically your people? You have a VIP list of the core clients, the people that are basically your raving fans, people who are in the industry, financial teams, and business owners. That's the who that you're trying to build relationships with. The what is essentially what are you talking about, right? What is the communication that you're doing? You're inviting them to events. You're trying to have meaningful conversations. So basically building an additional connection with them with these events, making them feel special, making them understand like, hey, I value you and your time. And the when is monthly. Some people do it quarterly. Some people do it on birthdays. Some people just do it at holidays. Like, that's when they start, working, maybe, is when during the holidays, which, to be honest, to me, the holidays are probably the busier times. Is when I work the hardest. And so let's go on to the how. So how are you keeping track of that?
So you have to, I mean, any form of CRM, right? Like, literally it could be, I mean, I'm big on paper. Like, I wrote down every phone call I've had this week. Like, you can see it. Like, this is like, I'm practicing what I preach. So it's there. Or, you could use, I find a CRM that has a Kanban style board to be best, because that way I can drag people into different sort of categories, and then I can set reminders and tasks to say like, oh, I need to call them. So you just have to have a CRM that you can set reminders with. I know that you can do that in Lofty. You can do it in KV Core. Those are 2 big ones that are really popular with realtors. I think you can do it in Real Geeks, Brivity. Like, I think all of them do it. So you just track that. And what I would do is say, like, if I have a conversation with, let's say that my electrician, who's my go-to electrician, I've used him 3 times, literally, in the last 2 months on real estate transactions. So if I know that his kid is graduating this year, then that should come out in conversation. When it does, I need to make a note in the CRM. Oh, his son's graduating. That's an opportunity to invest. I can send a gift, and then he's top of mind. I want to be top of mind in real estate, but now he's also top of mind, where I'm like, if I saw something, a cool tip about college stuff and his kid's going to college, I can say, hey, I saw this. It's really cool. It's just another meaningful way to have a reason to be in the room and have a conversation. And I'm just tracking that. And I would say, like, it's not about, I've done my one contact with that person. I've checked the box. It's always about truly listening to that in that conversation to think what's the next most natural way that I can invest in this relationship. And it might be that you talk to that person 5 times that month. That's okay. But you're like making sure that no one goes uncommunicated with or uninvested in. And sometimes people will drop off because if someone's not reciprocating, then obviously, like you want to build a business that doesn't stress you out. So I don't want to be chasing people. I want to never feel like when I'm picking up that phone to call my core 100, I never want to feel that like, oh man, they're going to think I'm selling them something or they're thinking I'm asking for business. I don't want that uncomfortable, stressful feeling. I want to be this like I'm reaching out to my friends, and the more I can invest in them, the more they're going to want to invest in me. I'm not begging for that reciprocation. I'm looking for it. I'm just finding it. And so to me, this was a huge help for me to frame my business, the activities of my business around that reality. If I had 100 people that wanted it, that I was their realtor, like I was the guy that they think about when it comes to real estate, just 100. I don't need 10,000. If I just had 100, I would be never, ever, ever lacking for business. And that's just come true. And and that's with me falling short of my own ideal, right? This is like, you have an ideal in business and you don't usually meet it, and I don't. I fail. I miss contacts, or some people fall through the cracks because of my own inefficiencies, but I just held on to that. And that way in my business, it's not weird if I call my electrician, hey man, how's it going? I can literally just send a video message or a text and go, what's been going on in the electrical world? You keeping up? Like, what's been good? What's been challenging? How can I help? And that reciprocation is going to be there. How's the real estate thing? How's mortgages going? Like, great. Who you got for me? Who needs to be pre-approved? Like who needs to, who's looking for a realtor out there? You sending them, or am I going to have to come hunt you down and beat you up? Like I can just have enjoyable conversations, and it just keeps me top of mind. And it was just a great way for me to frame my business. And when I think about laying a foundation, I just think about a building the foundation in a house. It's got 4 corners. There's 25 on each. Off of the cornerstone is my VIPs, and everything else is just icing on the cake.
Totally, 1000% agree. And the saying that goes into my head, and I actually posted this, I think yesterday or the day before, what gets measured gets managed, what gets managed gets better or can get improved.
I like that.
So this is your way of measuring your activity, right? And we never, I would suggest not measuring the outcomes as much as measuring the activity.
Yes.
If you're able to measure the activity, you can basically predict the outcome, right? And being disciplined on this, actually logging this information in and saying like, okay, I had this many conversations with people, and having meaningful conversations, and actually writing notes on those conversations, because even worse than what you mentioned before, like not touching those people, is forgetting what you said to these people and how how their lives are going. If Darcy lost her dog a few months ago, and then you ask about the dog, it's not a really great look. Right. So it's twofold. You're reaching out to these people, and you're making sure that you're doing it, and then you're making sure that you're not stepping on yourself, and you have those notes in front of you. You're able to speak to your clients, your potential clients, your friends, your family, in a educated and more like professional manner is not the right word, but you're coming off more professional by knowing the conversation, remembering the conversation, even if they don't, especially if they don't. It's like, oh, we talked about that last time. Yeah. Like if you're the person that's remembering the conversation more than them, they feel more special. They feel a better connection to you. And it's not, I'll say that it's not based, it's not making you robotic by writing these notes down. It's making you a little bit more human, because
Yeah.
that is like, there's nothing worse than just calling someone who's like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, I just told you, like, you called me 2 days ago. Oh fuck, I didn't write my notes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. And I think for people to get over that idea of, well, tracking my conversations with my relationships is that salesy. Like, I don't feel good about that. It's like maybe reframing to say, I should be tracking what's important to me. If these people are important to me, wouldn't it be more of a statement of how much they mean if I actually am trying to remember specifically what's going on and then following up with it and asking them how it's going, right? Like, and we've mentioned this before, like talking about frog convos, these intentional conversations. Like, you haven't had a meaningful conversation if you don't walk away from that with an answer to the question, what's the next way that I can invest in this relationship? It could be as simple as a handwritten thank you, or it can be connecting them with a service provider. It can be any number of things. But if you don't know the answer to that question, you're not having meaningful conversations. And I think a lot of people are like, I call people and check in, but nothing ever happens. It's like uh, a wink and a nod convo is, it's not that it's bad or useless. It's just that it might not be as deeply meaningful or impactful as a real conversation based on real things happening in their lives. And so deepening those relationships to where they become more significantly real and put kind of flesh on the bone to that and not just transactional, that's where the magic will ultimately happen, because people are going to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. So you build that in. And in a business that can have so many different shiny objects and options, like I said, maybe it's door knocking, maybe it's cold calling, calling expireds, FISBOs, whatever it is for you, open houses. For me, I just found that like framing this idea that says, man, if I could just build that list of 100, and some people won't stay in there, some people will be new, that's fine. But if my whole job is to build and serve that list of people, nothing else. My job, buying and selling real estate, is what is a byproduct of my investment in these people. And if I can do that, I can grow this business, you know?
Absolutely.
And
Think of every conversation as an investment. Like I think of every time I'm staying at the office a little bit longer, every time I'm having these conversations, every time I'm making a call, it's not sacrificing anything. It needs to be a mindset shift of that. You're investing into your business. You're investing into your quality here. So I came up with some action items for everyone to take, and I think that we should adopt this in every episode. We'll see. We'll see
all right.
if people like it. So start measuring. Start measuring everything that you do. Start
Yep.
tracking everything you do. It can be a paid CRM. It can be a free CRM. It could be an Excel sheet. Measure what you're
Yes.
doing.
Yes.
Gather your core 100. If this
Yep.
is something that you feel like it's going to connect with you, gather your core 100. And for that core 100 to be able to hit those people on a monthly basis and invite them to events, you got to start creating events. So start creating events, start creating reasons to actually reach out to these people and invite them to your open house. Like invite them to any kind of event. Invite them to a live. We're going to be starting a live pretty soon. So make sure that you're consistent with that. And my last step is to get consistent. So with you measuring everything, with you creating these events, you have to get consistent. So get that discipline, get those 5 daily tasks in, get that power list done, get those
Yeah.
actions done, and get that consistency. And the consistency of business is going to come to you.
I love it, because the big stone here is build the list, the 100, and not like wherever you're at, whoever you have, maybe there's some people on that for you. Maybe you've got 6. Oh, you need 94 more. That's your job, right? So if you say, all right, in order to do this, I need to be consistent with having, let's say it's 5 meaningful conversations a day, right? With those types of people that need to be on the list, then that's one of your things on your power list, because you've got more going on in your business than just generating. You got follow-up, you've got social media, you've got continuing education. There's other things that you need to do, but dude, the conversations to build my list, and don't get discouraged if no one shows up on the core 100 that day, but if you have the conversations, you can check that off, and you can crush the day and say like, that's on your way to get the W, in addition to other things. And yeah, cool.
Absolutely.
Boy, me and you, we can go over, can't we? 25. All right. Well, guys, it's been our honor to hang out with you for a little bit. Hopefully you got some value out of this. If you did, hit subscribe, hit the like, share this up with another agent that you think would have value from it. If you don't like watching on YouTube and you want to listen, you can listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever podcasts are. And we're continuing. If you haven't noticed, we've got a lot of short content going up. We're trying to work on adding more long form. So yeah, keep listening. We appreciate you guys. TacticalAgents.com if you want more info, and that's about it.